I hope you're reading, okay? Because that's all we do. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Bailey. Welcome back to my channel. I like to read a little bit. So today I'm gonna do something a little different. We are going to do a book recommendation tag. I saw a fellow creator, Maddi. I'm going to tag your video down below. She gave me this idea and I'm gonna give you 20 different prompts. That's 2. That's not 20. I don't know why. Is that backwards to you? I don't know how to do things. I'm going to give y'all 20 book recommendations based off of different prompts. And I thought that this was such a fun, cute idea. I know she got it from somewhere else, but I don't know where. So Maddi, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it so much because this sounds like so much fun. Also, if you can hear my neighbor mowing, no, you can't. Okay? I don't know what it is about me pulling out this camera, but it seems like that just sends out essentially the bat signal to all of my neighbors that they should mow their yard. Love it here. But anyways, I'm just gonna give y'all some book recommendations based off of different prompts, okay? I thought this was super fun and I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. So let's just jump right into it, okay? Okay, thank you. I did in fact write these down so that I would remember exactly what book I wanted to put for what, because I tried really hard not to repeat. That is so hard. So the first prompt is going to be a book that you tell everyone is your favorite. And it should come to no surprise, I don't know why that was so hard, to anyone, that the Tales of Weeping Hollow series by Nicole Fiorina is my favorite, okay? I will literally never shut up about these books. I am absolutely obsessed with them. They are witchy, they are spooky, they are just all of the things. The first book is Hollow Heathens and the second book is Bone Island. Nicole will be doing a book for each of the heathens, and if you don't know what the heathens are, let me tell you. Each book follows one of the Hollow Heathens, okay? And the Hollow Heathens are male witches. In this town that they live in, there's like a protective magical bubble around them, okay? So that strangers can't get in from the outside. And it's like Halloween 24/7. Okay, there are 2 witch covens. These 2 witch covens are in a rivalry, and they have been for years, all right? And the heathens, the Hollow Heathens, are a group of men that are on one side. They cannot show people their faces. They have to wear masks because if they don't, if you see their face, you will perish. You will have a heart attack because seeing their face shows you their deepest, darkest fear. They are cursed, okay? So they have to wear masks, and each book follows one of the heathens and their love story. And Nicole Fiorina has like next level lyrical writing, all right? I just love the way that she writes. She gets a lot of her inspiration from Edgar Allan Poe, and I love that. So if you have not read these are the books that I always recommend. Number 2, a book that is your guilty pleasure. And guilty pleasure, yes, but it is also one of my favorite books of last year. Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. Okay, this one is teacher student, and that is in fact my guilty pleasure. I love an age gap, and I don't know, maybe I should talk about this in therapy. Anyways, Nocticadia is also gothic romance, like, well, I say gothic, it's like spooky dark academia, okay? I just love spooky gothic vibes, okay? As you can tell from Hollow Heathens and this one. But this one is definitely my guilty pleasure. There's a scene in this book. So she's in college and she's on scholarship, right? And he is her professor and she is really into science. It's a science class. He's a researcher, you know, all of that good stuff. And she needs money. So she decides, in order to get money, she is going to create, essentially, post videos and pictures of herself online. And she's in class and she's like, oh, well, schoolgirl, that's a thing. So she starts recording herself in class while she's watching him. He notices that she's not paying attention and that she's on her phone. So he comes and takes her phone. And what happens next, whenever he goes to put it in his office, it falls, it's still unlocked. It falls and he picks it up and he sees this video of her, you know, in his class to him. I die. I love it. I love it so much. And it's very good. So you should absolutely read it. It's kind of got like a a mystery aspect to it. It's very, very good. Very good. Love this book so much. Next is going to be a book that everyone loved, but I did not. And that, do not come for me, is going to be Flawless by Elsie Silver. Now let me explain to you why I did not like this book. It is a cowboy romance, okay? Yes, it is. And I live in Texas. Do I need to explain more? Probably. So I am surrounded by the cowboy types all the time. All the time. And it's just not my vibe. And I thought that maybe I was getting FOMO and I really just wanted to not miss out on what everyone was talking about with Miss Elsie Silver. And it wasn't for me. Okay, I did like Cade's book. I think that's the second book, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. I read it a while ago. But I did like that one a lot. I just didn't really like the cowboy aspect. I will, however, be reading Wild Love, I think it is, by Elsie Silver, because I was informed that it is not a cowboy romance, it is a billionaire romance, and everybody's loving it, and I'm getting FOMO again. So, but that is why I don't like Flawless, because it is very yeehaw, and I am not. So, and then a book that I read the fastest, and this isn't just one book, the rest of the series is actually here, because it's going to be Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. Oh my God, I read this entire series in one weekend. Gobbled it up, okay? Call me a turkey because bitch, I was gobbling. All right, it was so good. I don't remember everything about it because I read it so fast. Like I literally inhaled this series. If you have not read this series, this is a YA dystopian series, and the FMC Juliet, if you touch her, you die. So, I don't know why I said that like that. I'm so sorry. I just remember being so consumed by this dystopian world that I could not put it down. And I'm sorry, but Aaron Warner, one of the only blonde men that I will ever love. And I feel like I'm speaking for the majority of the book girly population whenever I say that, okay? Aaron Warner is like Draco Malfoy. I don't care what he does, okay? I literally do not care. He is so fine. It is absolutely ridiculous. And for a YA book to make me feel like that is insane. And then a book that deserves more hype, y'all already know, Fairy Tale by Veronica Lancet. I devoured this book, okay? She's thick. She's really thick. If you're gonna read her on Kindle, because it's obviously Big Book Fear does not exist on Kindle, but it is so many genres that should not work together. But they do, okay? I think more people need to read this because it is insane. For a big book, there is no boring parts, okay? You will not, at least to me, there was no lag. There was no point where I was like, okay, I gotta push through, at all. There's a love triangle with a ghost, there's historical romance, there's paranormal romance, there's fantasy romance, everything, okay? There's plot twists galore. It is just absolutely fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I am obsessed with it. It's gothic and spooky and romantic. The MMCs in this book, I love them both so much, okay? Top book boyfriends material, okay? But she does end up picking in the end, but it's not what it seems. I can't explain more. I'm so sorry. You're just gonna have to read it. This next one's going to be kind of embarrassing. Not really. I feel like everybody did this. Maybe. A book that you have reread the most. Now, have I reread this book in the past 10 years? No, but whenever I was younger, I was a fiend for Twilight, okay? I cannot tell you how many times I reread Breaking Dawn. I honestly forgot. It was at least 3 to 4 times. At minimum, 3 to 4 times. I was obsessed with Edward, okay? I was absolutely obsessed. Jacob, hotter. Edward, better, in my opinion. Now, whenever Midnight Sun came out, did I read it? Yes. Did I love it? No. Okay, Edward was a whiny little bitch. He could not make up his mind between, do I want to bite her or do I want to love her? Oh no, her blood smells so good. I want to kill her, but I also want to love her. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. Just pick one, okay? I was getting very annoyed with his inner monologue. But Breaking Dawn, Twilight, the entire series, except for New Moon, because New Moon got on my nerves. Because what the hell was that? I get it, but what the hell was that? Breaking Dawn was the best book in this series. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. I just love this one so much. And can we all say it was a collective experience for the girlies who read Twilight, the series, whenever we were younger, that when we went to the movies for Breaking Dawn, all of us were confused, okay? They got us, and they got us good with that plot twist at the end. I was like, what the hell are they doing? This was not in the book. What the hell are they doing? My mother went with me, okay? My bestie girl at the time, who we read the series together, and her mom and my mom went with me. It was a whole thing. We wore the shirts, all of it. And my mom was gasping. She was gasping. It was so great. It was wonderful. That is a memory that will be forever locked in my brain with my mother, reading the Twilight series together, and then me going back and being feral for vampires. Okay, that is where my vampire obsession started, and it will never end. A book from a genre that I do not typically read is going to be, and I don't know if this is considered a genre, it is a classic, okay? I don't read a lot of classics, but The Great Gatsby is my favorite classic of all time. I read this in high school. It was required reading in high school, and I could not put it down. I could not put it down. I mean, it's not that long at all either. How do I explain this the correct way? I love being heartbroken in books. Okay, do I love a happy ending? Yes, duh, everybody does. But occasionally, I don't want a happy ending. It really just shows you how one decision that you make can alter the outcome of your life. You know what I mean? And that's kind of terrifying, but also it's beautiful in a way. I don't know. I just really love this book, and I love the vibes of this book. The movie was good. The book is so much better. Okay, it is so much better. I feel like that's a thing we always say, but if you haven't read The Great Gatsby, it's like this copy is only 160 pages or something like that. So it's really a quick read, and if you want to read a classic, I highly recommend this one. Now, do I love like Little Women? You know, The Picture of Dorian Gray? Yes, I do, but this one is my favorite. So this is one outside of my typical genre, because I don't read a lot of classics. I don't like to use brain power when I read. So there you go. A book that deserves all of the hype. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I picked this one specifically because it is being so hyped right now, and it is for good reason. Now, I did read the other two books in this series before reading this one. I read them a while ago, and they were okay. I liked them, but I didn't love them. This is one of my new favorite rom-coms of all time. Do I read a lot of rom-coms? I don't read a whole bunch, but whenever I do, I usually have a good time. But this one had so much emotion behind it too. It was just, oh, it was so beautiful. I feel like whenever you read a rom-com, you don't expect it to be deeper than just like, you know, jokes and surface level love and stuff like that. But this was so deep. There was a lot of family dynamics in this one, and it really kind of tugged at my heartstrings. The people that their significant others date after them end up being that person's significant other, and then they're left in the dust. And so they decide to break the curse and date each other. And we all know I love a good fake dating trope. Worth it, worth it. Read it. If you haven't read it, read it. And then a book that you usually recommend whenever you're asked to give a book rec. Now, a lot of times y'all ask me for dark romance book recs. And so I like to start people out slow because I was just thrown straight into the deep end. And while that works for some people, other people aren't like that. So to play it on the safe side and to make sure everybody has a good time still, I always recommend Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. If you have not read the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark, what are you doing? She has some of the most bingeable writing that I have ever read. It's very hard to do enemies to lovers in a not fantasy setting. I feel like it just hits different in fantasy, but Brutal Prince does it perfectly, okay? There are opposing mafia families, and these two people, Callum and Ada, have to get married, and they don't like each other. She goes as far to find out that he is allergic to strawberries, and what does she do on their wedding day? Coats her lips in strawberries so that whenever she kisses him, he will perish. Are you actually kidding me? She is an icon. I love her. Ada is amazing. This is actually my favorite book out of the whole series too. They just have a special place in my heart, and I absolutely love this book. So anytime anyone asks me for a dark romance rec, this is the one that I give them. Next is going to be a book that has your favorite character, The Book of Azriel by Amber V. Nicole. Okay, I don't know what it is about a ragey woman, but I lap it up. The FMC is the villain. Okay, that should be enough to get you to read this book. The FMC is the villain. And hot one at that. The third book just came out in the series, and if you have not read this yet, you absolutely should. Diana is a demon, okay? Like an actual, she's an I think it's pronounced Igmaruthian. Not sure, don't come for me on that. But her and Sam Kiel, the MMC, have to, in the first book, meet up to go find this book, okay, that could save the world or end it, all right? It has the potential. Her boss wants her to find it so he can control the world, essentially end it. And so they decide to team up to save it. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in between, and Diana goes batshit in the best way possible. And I don't even know what that noise was, but I just love her so much. And if you haven't read this book and you love fantasy books, what are you doing? Diana Martinez is one of my favorite characters I've ever read about, and I love her so, so much. A book that I wished I lived in, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. London gossip girl, high society with a hint of mafia. Duh. If I lived in this book, I would be rich, okay? And I wouldn't have another worry. Actually, this book proves that rich people do have worries, in fact, and that it goes a lot deeper than that. But I'm just saying, life would be a lot easier if I had a whole bunch of money. I would love to be in this also specifically because of Julian Hates in Daisy Hates, and he's in Magnolia Parks too. But Julian Hates is one of my top book boyfriends of all time, and I love him. And I would die to go to an art gallery with him. Don't tell my husband. Actually, my husband can hear me, so sorry. Also, if you have not read Magnolia Parks, you absolutely should, because it has some of the most beautiful lyrical writing, just like Nicole Fiorina writes, except a little bit different because it's Jessa Hastings. They're not the same. Nicole Fiorina is more like Edgar Allan Poe influence. Jessa Hastings is just her own entity. Okay, I absolutely love Jessa. I love her, and I love these books so much. They hold a special place in my heart, and I will read anything that this woman writes, but I would want to live in this book specific, not this one, but this world specifically, because of so many different things, but mainly Julian Hates and money. So thank you. A book you thought you'd hate, but ended up loving, Out on a Limb by Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This book has the pregnancy trope in it, and I do not like the pregnancy trope at all. I thought I was not going to like this, but everyone was talking about it and it sounded so sweet. I knew 15 pages into this book, when there was a dead parent joke, because I'm a part of the Dead Dad Club, that I was going to love this book. Their sense of humor was, it fit mine. So I feel like I really resonated with this book, but this is the most wholesome, sweet, funny book, one of the most funny books that I have ever read. Strangers to friends to lovers. It's just, these two strangers hook up on Halloween night and end up getting pregnant, and they decide they're going to co-parent, and she has to move in with him. If you have not read this and you feel like you're missing out, you should absolutely pick it up because it's great. And then a book that made you cry, The Torment Duet by Dylan Page. Okay, if you know, you know. I picked this up thinking it was just gonna be a dark romance. I don't know if I would even classify it as romance, if I'm being so totally honest. There is romance in it, but not like you're thinking. Okay, caution, read your trigger. I'm so serious, read your trigger warnings if you're gonna pick this up, because I was a sobbing mess by the end of this book. But that is also why it's one of my favorites, because it struck so deep. You know what I mean? This book heavily is about manipulation and just abuse. It is about abuse, and I don't know, it altered my brain chemistry. Okay, it made me feel so deeply. I don't know if I love it or I hate it because of the feelings that it made me feel, but I do recommend it if you're wanting to feel something and you want to be hurt or destroyed. So, because there are other people like me who like that. But please, like I said, check your trigger warnings before reading this. A book you wish you could reread again for the first time. Now, obviously, technically, it would be all of my favorite books, right? Everybody wishes they could reread all of their favorite books for the first time. But specifically, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig are the two that I would choose if I could. Because the way that I love these characters is like bone deep, okay? I have never seen a duology done so well as it was here. This is like gothic fantasy, okay? And it has such a unique magic system. Like there are magic tarot cards, and you can anybody can use the magic, but if you use the magic, there is also something bad in turn that would happen to you. And these people have to go on a journey to get all of the cards together to overthrow the ruler of the kingdom, right? But the main character, Elspeth, she has one of the cards in her head. she's got a nightmare, the nightmare card in her head, and the nightmare talks to her and helps her and takes over her body at times and a whole bunch of different things. There's also a sickness, but people can't know that she survived the sickness, because if you do, then the king will kill you, because the kids who survived the sickness could have magic. So, but nobody said anything, so she's safe, or so she thinks. I think about them often. I highly recommend picking up this series if you love fantasy and if you've been just kind of in a fantasy slump, as in like you're reading the same things over and over and over again, because it's top tier. It's top tier. A lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people adore it. And I am one of those people that adore it. So I highly recommend it. A book that could pull you out of a reading slump. Okay, this one actually pulled me out of a reading slump. The Mindfuck series by St. Abby. If you have not read this series and you love like mystery and badass women and revenge plots and all of those things and quick, easy reads, pick it up. Technically, it's 5 books, 5 small novellas that were released. You can buy it as one big book. It's all on Kindle Unlimited. Lana Myers, okay? So basically, you follow a serial killer, Lana, and she is getting revenge on people that hurt her and her brother, okay? They all think that she died years ago, but surprise, she did not, okay? And she's back for revenge. But while she's back and while she's doing these murders, she starts dating the head FBI agent on her case. Yeah, can you just imagine the inside scoop that you would get? I'm just saying. She is so intelligent. She is honestly one of the most intelligent characters I've ever read. The things that she did to hide her identity while she was just out and about murdering people was insane. You will read it like this. I've never met someone who is not like this book, okay? It is heavy, check your triggers, but it is so good and it is so bingeable. And if you need to get out of a slump, pick it up. A book you think everyone should read. I struggle with this one, okay? Because I feel like everybody's tastes are different, but I do feel like if you like romance or if you just want a good story with like crazy plot twists, it's kind of like, you know, I feel like everybody would love it. It is Perfect Strangers by J.T. Geisinger. I know everybody talks about Pen Pal by her. I really didn't like that book very much, but I loved Perfect Strangers. The plot twist at the end, there were like 3 different plot twists that I did not guess at all. I did not see them coming. I feel like that's a win in my book. Okay, I'm just saying. I feel like it's very romantic too because it's set in Europe and the love story is so beautiful. Okay, it completely immerses you. That's all I'm gonna tell you about it because I don't wanna ruin anything. It's got to be an experience for you, okay? So if you have been thinking about starting J.T. Geisinger or picking up a book with a plot twist, there you go. A book that you think would be an amazing movie. I just recently read this one and I think it would very much give early 2000s rom-com vibes, and that is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I could see everything happening. It would make the perfect movie. It's a fake marriage trope. Well, it's actually a real marriage. Okay, hold on, let me start over. They are actually married, okay? They got married for student housing. They, as she thought, divorced 2 years later. Turns out they're still married. He comes back 3 years after that and he's like, hey, my family still thinks we're married, and in order to get my inheritance, by the way, I'm rich as hell. You have to come with me to my sister's wedding on this like island somewhere so that I can get my inheritance. And she's like, yeah, fuck it, I need money. Okay, because her dad's her dad has medical problems and he needs a little bit of help financially. So she's like, yeah, I'll take the money. I'll pay if you pay me $100,000. And he's like, deal. And I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. The only qualm, other than the fact that it wasn't deep enough for me, that I had with this book, and that the ending was rushed, is that the FMC towards the end of the book literally at some point wears Cookie Monster pajama pants. Why would you feel the need to mention that in a book? But I do recommend this. If you can look past that, I do recommend this because it is like watching a movie. Like grab your popcorn, grab your candy, sit down and have a good time. A book you think everyone should read even if it's out of their comfort zone. I am saying this next book because the series is insanely long. Honestly, with the main books, there are 9 books. I don't know how many there are, maybe like 15 with the novellas included. But Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, okay? Look, is it a literary masterpiece? No. Is it entertaining as hell? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, I ate this up. I have not read book 9 yet. Don't come for me. I'm scared. I don't want it to end. You will fall in love with these characters. Now, it is kind of a bully romance. Not kind of, it definitely is a bully romance at the beginning. It is done so well. You will still feel for the bullies. Anything that the Twisted Sisters writes, I'm going to eat it up every single time because I'm going to be entertained. I know that I'm going to be entertained, and I know you will too. So if you have been scared to start this series because of how many there are, just download it on Kindle. Just try it. Read the first book, try it. If you don't like it, you can come back and tell me if you want. I mean, it's fine. But I recommend it. A book you thought you would love but ended up hating. Okay, don't come for me. I'm probably going to continue with the series at some point, but just not right now. The Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Okay, and it's not the entire series. I only read the first book, Addicted to You. I did not like this book. Okay, I did not like these characters at all. And I know I preach about how Magnolia Parks, you're not gonna, like Jessa Hastings, all of her characters, you're not gonna like the characters at first because the character growth has to be able to grow. But I just didn't like these characters at all. I did not have a good time. I felt like it put me in a really dark place. But I know that the series gets better because if it didn't, nobody would talk about this, and everybody and their mothers talks about the series, and I am missing out. I want to like read more about Connor Cobalt. Okay, everybody talks about Connor Cobalt. I want to know more about him. I met him in the first book, but I don't know that much about him. Then a book you will never forget, and that is going to be Saving Six and Redeeming Six, which is over there, by Chloe Walsh. I heavily related to Joey in this series. The Boys of Tommen series has a special place in my heart, and it will never, ever, ever be filled by anything else, okay? That spot is branded Boys of Tommen, B-O-T, okay? Joey, I don't even know how to describe it, okay? The love that I have for him is astronomical. Okay, this man's has been through it. And I'm not just saying like, oh, you know, he had a hard life. No, he had a horrendous life. And the way that he picks himself up with the help of his family and friends, not his whole family, his siblings and his friends and Aoife are just, it's beautiful. The found family in these books is just next level. Look, I have goosebumps. These are marketed as YA for some reason though. Like I always see them in the YA section. These are definitely not YA. Okay, they have heavy topics. It's not YA. So anyways, but I love these characters so much, and I will never ever forget them. And that concludes all 20 of these prompts. So I hope that you got a book recommendation out of it. If you didn't, I gave you a lot, so I hope you did. I don't know what to tell you. I love all of these books. There are so many more that I love. And of course, maybe I'll do another book prompt recommendation video in the future if y'all like this one. But you should definitely pick up at least one of these, if not all of them, because I love them so much. Little reading update for you before I go. June is going well. I am heavily in the Marionette series. I'm on book 4. I didn't get to read yesterday because I was busy, but today I'm going to read, and tomorrow I am also going to read. My husband and I are having a little date at the lake tomorrow, and we are going to take a picnic and go swimming, and I'm gonna read my silly little book. We're just gonna hang out. So I'll be reading tomorrow as well, and photosynthesizing and all of the things. But yeah, I've literally just read 3 books, and they're all in the Marionette series so far in the month of June. I don't know what I'm gonna read next off of my TBR. It depends on the mood that I'm in. I may be over fantasy for the time being. I also have been heavily weighing starting a Fable book club. I just don't wanna let y'all down in terms of, am I going to finish or am I not going to finish? So if that's something that you would be interested in, me starting a Fable book club so we can read along together, then let me know and I will absolutely do it if y'all really want it. I hope that this week is a great reading week for y'all. I hope that y'all end up picking up one of these, or if not, picking up one that y'all have had on your TBR, or one that you just go get at the bookstore or Kindle. I hope you're reading, okay? Because that's what we do. Anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see y'all next week.